but all of the kids know our vision statement for our family. And we have core values. We have a mission statement. And one of our core values is that we treat each other better than our best friends. So we're teaching them that your siblings are going to be in your life longer than any other human being on the planet. Your siblings will be in your life longer than your spouse. Your siblings will be in your life longer than us as your parents. Your siblings will be in your life longer than your best friends.
No, but I think that as men, we think we're supposed to be perfect.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that's the thing is like, man, we're putting on a facade, there's a lot of uncertainty and we're not God. We're not supposed to be perfect. And that's okay for your kid eventually to see that you are together pursuing the Father in heaven.
So with that being said, Ned, let me chime in like this. So once my kids get to the preteen years and they're starting to ask a lot of questions, right? So let's hit the elephant in the room right in the mouth. So basically you're talking about drugs, you're talking about sex, you're talking about drinking, parties, you're talking about the quality of your relationships. Like these are the types of conversations that surface once they get to the age where they're asking questions.
Yeah.
And the answers are directly correlated to the level in which they're asking the questions. So we will match them directly with the questions that they ask so that they get the truth. And we communicate that in such a way that the kids, we tell them, listen, we're going to tell you the truth so that when you go out here in the world or in the street and people are asking you questions or something comes up, you have a correct foundation to pull from so you know how to make the right decisions. So in the Bible, when you study the word and you study theologically, there's a concept called the rule of first mention. Have you ever heard of that?
Say it again.
The rule of first mention. Okay. So theologians have what's called the rule of first mention. So the way it works in theology is anytime you see something in scripture, you can go back to the rule of first mention and see the first time it was written in the Bible to set the precedence for how you're going to interpret that moving forward. Okay.
Got it.
So keep with that school of thought and now go back to the rule of first mention as it pertains to our children. So you think about their first opportunity when it comes to drugs, or the first time somebody introduces them to vaping or cigarettes or smoking weed or a sexual advance or whatever it is, fill in the blank. Now you want them to have a rule of first mention where they can set the precedence on how they interpret that moving forward. So if it was a conversation during that teaching phase with that kid where you talk to them about sex in an appropriate manner and what God created it for, which is for marriage, right? Or you talk about how drugs or like cocaine, what it does to your brain and how people using can get caught up in that. No shame for anybody that's doing it. But what I'm saying is there's a reason why you're caught in that cycle and you can't get out. So if we can be the first ones to have that conversation with them and plant that seed of, hey, when this happens, here's the appropriate response. And here's the way you can actually get out of it. Here's how you can avoid that scenario. Now it prepares them better to show up in such a way that they have more power, more confidence, and they're able to avoid those types of circumstances.
Yes, that's good. Going back to something you said about building this biblical foundation, these 3 phases, and training. Tell me some practical ways that you are training your kids in the way of the Lord from any one of these, 0 to 6, 7 to 12, or 13 to 18, to give guys a couple of practical ways to train your kids up.
All right, I'm laughing because we have one that's quite comical. So all of us men have these stressful moments where, your kids might like my kids might be kind of getting at each other, arguing, right? So the first thing is we have a family vision, and our family vision is to glorify God with an inspiring and purpose-filled life. So you can ask any of our children, I would say the older 9, the 10th one knows it too. She's 3. So you can ask any of the 10, the baby obviously can't talk yet, so she doesn't know, but all of the kids know our vision statement for our family. And we have core values. We have a mission statement. And one of our core values is that we treat each other better than our best friends. So we're teaching them that your siblings are going to be in your life longer than any other human being on the planet. Your siblings will be in your life longer than your spouse. Your siblings will be in your life longer than us as your parents. Your siblings will be in your life longer than your best friends. So when you think about this, like, we're not going to accept a Cain and Abel type of relationship. We're not doing that, right? But we will accept the Ephraim and Manasseh type of relationship. They were like best friends, Joseph's sons. So That is our expectation in this house, and nothing else is acceptable. So going back to your question about training, one thing that we will do that's actually funny, and me and my wife get a comical kick out of this, is if they're not getting along, then I'll ask the question, how do we treat each other? Right? So they're in the middle of their little tip, they're fighting over a toy or whatever. How do we treat each other? Better than our best friend's dad. Okay, cool. So since you guys couldn't figure this out, I'm going to help you. And I say, go get one of my t-shirts. So I got a whole bin of t-shirts that are like old. All of us have these as guys, right? Old, nasty t-shirts you won't really wear unless you're doing like yard work and you don't care if it gets messed up. It's got holes in it. So I'll have them go get one of my t-shirts. And then I'll have them and they're like, no, Dad, not the t-shirt, not the t-shirt. I'm like, go get the t-shirt. And they're like, please, Daddy, no, no, no. So I'll be like, go get the t-shirt. So they go get the t-shirt. They come back. And then this is like a 2X. I'll have one kid stand and I'll put him in a t-shirt. So he puts an arm, he stands in a t-shirt. And then I have the other one get to him back to back. And he has to fit in the same t-shirt. So now they're both inside of this t-shirt. And it's a big shirt. It's a 2X. You know, they got these little heads, little necks. Yeah. And then they both put their arms through. And I'm like, all right, you guys are going to learn to have each other's backs and treat each other better than your best friends. So I'm going to let y'all hang out in this t-shirt together until you can figure out how to do that. And it might be a couple of minutes. It might be 5, it might be 10 minutes. Yeah. But dude, it is hilarious. And by the time they get done with it, after they get over their little egos and their pride, they're both in there laughing and they're getting along and they give each other a big hug. So anyway, that's just a fun way to discipline them in a way that's memorable.